I'm Adrianne Lynch with the Lynch team at Real Broker.
And I'm Kerri Ann with All About You Placement and Senior Resources.
We were talking a lot about declining of our parents' health, the cognitive. It seems like I'm noticing more and more of lots of memory care, lots of dementia, and coming earlier in stages, and also Parkinson lately. And that, starts to cognitively mess with the mind, and that kids aren't prepared for these things. Some of them, I feel like when we hear the comments, that it's, their parents are aging, but they're not realizing mentally what that means. And when we talk about power of attorney paperwork and those type of things, do they understand what their roles are? And then we start looking at the paperwork and it's not written the way that they just think the power of attorney, I can just sell this property. They need this. I can't afford to pay that for them. And I think those conversations. So what are you seeing out there right now with the families, and what's probably one or two pieces that are really not being discussed that they're missing? At our age, we're not understanding. We should be asking our parents to make sure we're all on the same page with paperwork.
Questioning anybody's ability is an uncomfortable conversation. I don't care if it's physical, and then when it's mental or cognitive, it's even worse. My husband and I have gone on vacation where we're hiking, and he's like, "Are you sure you're okay? Can you do this?" And that irritates me because he's questioning my physical ability. Even though I'm going to be 55, I can still walk up a mountain, kind of. So none of that is comfortable. And the thing is that's where, and especially in Arizona, our power of attorney paperwork is broken up into medical and mental health. And it's very purposeful, and because anything, again, like we talked about our kids, is that, anything can happen at any time to anybody at any age. And you could have a situation where, let's say that someone has a stroke, okay? So they're incapacitated. They physically may be okay, but they're incapacitated and they need someone to speak for them. So the power of attorney paperwork is important. Now, when you're a couple, would it fall to your husband or your wife or a spouse? Yes, it does. However, if there's somebody outside of the system that's a family member that wants to make problems, then they can make problems if proper paperwork isn't in place. And so, that's where in Arizona we have that broken down. I believe that having conversations about medical things is just as important as having conversations about cognitive issues. My husband and I have talked about it, and I have made sure he understands that if I have a moment, an accident, something happens where I can't speak for myself, or when we're aged, what my wants and my desires are, and I've made sure that our paperwork reflects that. I've had those conversations with my own mother. We have to have these conversations, and for some reason, people have a stigma on having conversations about what if these things happen, because it doesn't mean that if something happens that it's just going to keep going down from there. So yes, like you said, I am seeing more and more younger people being diagnosed with dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and they are having healthier physical bodies, but more prolonged cognitively. And that is a unique thing that is happening now. And it's very challenging when we are getting resources for someone like that, whether they need memory care or whether we're supporting them in the home with caregiving. It is not your stereotypical elderly person who is now not walking, in a wheelchair, who has moved along a lot more in their cognition disease. That stereotypical picture is not what we're seeing overall now. There's a lot of challenges that come into place with that.
So if you have questions for yourself, for your family, you just want some resources, make sure you reach out. I'm Adrianne Lynch with the Lynch team at Real Broker and with Senior Connect AZ.
And Kerri Ann with All About You Placement and Senior Resources.